Who are the world's most interesting people? And what fascinating, groundbreaking, incredible things can they teach us? In this new series, I leave our Science of People lab to interview my favorite authors, experts, and celebrities for them to share their best people hacks, social skills, and stories. And let me tell you, they have some juicy tips. This is a new series I'm calling The World's Most Interesting People. Hello, my name is Vanessa Edwards, as you know, and I am with Noah Kagan. Woo! So if you have not heard of Noah Kagan's amazing podcast and YouTube channel, you have to go check it out. That is my go-to for my long runs. You should also check out his YouTube channel, and we use Sumo all over Science People. So Noah, you are so successful with people. Thank you for being here. Are you going to share some tips with us?
Possibly, I hope so.
Oh yes, definitely. So
Yes, confidence.
Do you have a framework for dealing with people?
For dealing with people, one of the things that I've really enjoyed in general is that when you meet people, they're like, what's the first thing you say if you got on a phone call with someone? Hey, Vanessa, are you there?
Yeah, yes.
And then you say, what's the first thing you say when you get on the phone with someone?
Yeah, hey, it's me.
And then you say,
hey, Noah.
how's it going?
How's it going?
And what does everyone say?
Fine.
Exactly. So one of the first things I do is I generally will always do kind of I don't know if it's called an abrupt thing, but I'll do something that's a little bit, I will never say good or fine. I'll either say I'm horrible.
Oh. Yeah, but it wakes people up.
They're like, what do you mean you're horrible? And I'm like, oh, I'm horrible because like breakfast didn't work out, or I had this meeting and it was bad. I have one friend who says he's always stupendous. That's his thing. He's like, I am stupendous. And you have to use that accent.
Wait, I gotta try it. Wait.
Stupendous. Yeah.
I like it.
I'm honestly, that's not me. So I don't say I'm always great when I'm not in a good mood. I just say, hey, I'm bad. This is what happened, or I did this for lunch, or here's why it's a great day. And generally, what I've known is that kind of like cuts through fluff. Like, oh, he's human, and then actually opens a conversation, and then you'll likely respond with, oh, well, you know what? This happened in my day.
So it's like a vulnerability share.
Totally.
So there's three interesting things about that. One is breaking autopilot. So instead of saying fine or like how's it going, so you broke autopilot by mentioning something different. Second thing that Noah said was that you tried to use something authentic. Like you don't say that you're stupendous or good if you're not actually stupendous or good. And also, this is really important, reciprocity vulnerability. So if you share a vulnerability, someone is much more inclined to share that back with you. So you're actually engaging in these three very subtle social skills behind the scenes. You didn't even know it.
I had no idea. Well, I always find it funny. You ever notice you're walking on the street or you see a friend like, how's it going? You know what they say? How's it going? It's like, why don't you actually say how you're doing and then stop for a moment?
I've also heard that with men, there's like the nod.
Yeah, we just nod back.
That's it.
Like one challenge that I've been doing, and I'm really excited about this challenge because it sucks.
Okay. My favorite.
Is that now I force myself, if I'm ever in an elevator,
yes,
to communicate with another person.
Ooh.
No matter what.
That's
and I'm like, those are always like, I'm at home and I don't want to say anything, and I'm like, hey, how's it going? How's your day? And they're like, you're talking to me? And you're not on your phone? And it's actually, I don't know, I feel like it's improved my social skills and it generally helps me be a better person.
Okay, so what Noah said there is, it sucks, which means that sometimes the practice part, it's just like lifting weights, right? Like the first few lifts are the worst, but like you force yourself to do it, and that it makes you flex the muscle more often.
It's a damn good one. I was in Israel a few months ago and I did this other one. And they're a little awkward, but the more you kind of do this stuff, the more you're just like, it's actually not a big deal. So I would do a challenge where either if I'm on a bike or if I'm walking, I would just try to high five random people.
No, really?
Yeah, so I just walk by to like, and people know what to do. I don't know why. If you just do this, they're like, you're like, how'd you know to do that? Like, I don't know, I just know to do this. And
also, you know that people are like, oh, yep, I'm just going to do it. Why did I just do that? Right? Like,
totally. Well, it's one of these things, I don't know. I guess I don't realize that it's a thing I do, but I just generally like to doing that because one, I do feel connected with society and the world, and I feel like, oh, the world's not that bad.
Yeah.
And two, it's just kind of a fun challenge to like get over talking to people in general and feeling more comfortable to like talk to people for business, for relationships, or for just personal.
Well, what's interesting about that is that the moment you have physical contact, you release oxytocin. So also, and I wonder if so some people are like addicted to oxytocin. And so I wonder.
Probably.
Yeah. So I wonder if you're reaching out because it feels real good.
Yeah, it's also an uncomfortable thing where I challenge myself like, all right, you got to get one person to do this. And then like that pushes me. Yeah, and I think I've used that a lot in business because for me with business, like Sumo.com or when we started AppSumo, it's like most of business specifically, you're asking for things.
Yeah.
And it's an ask. Like, hey, give me money for what I'm going to give you. And I think the more that you can build that muscle of an ask, the more your ask is like an easy, like, hey, I think this is good for you. I think you should give me that.
Yeah.
And the more you can do that, the easier it is for it to actually happen.
Okay, so we had two levels that we just learned. Level one is next time you're in an elevator, see if you can just break the ice, say something, even if it's just, hey, how's it going? Level two, if you really want to, is give people high fives, right? Like, see if you can do that high fives. I would have done it. But you brought up something really interesting that I wanted to ask you about, which is asking. So in business, we are constantly doing asks.
Totally.
Your podcast is incredible. You have the most varied, interesting guests.
How do you approach them? How do you ask them to be on your podcast? Like, how do you do that?
I think in general, how do I ask people? A lot of times I'm asking people who don't get asked.
Okay.
Well, I think you have to consider, because a lot of people have heard the same stories from the same people over and over.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find the people that they haven't heard stories from, or that I want to share their story. One thing actually, not just related to the podcast, I guess two things, but one, I was thinking about how on Thursday I'm going to San Francisco.
Yeah.
And I wanted to meet someone. And so one of the things I do if I want to meet someone for a podcast or in general is I always, if I know you, I say, hey, can you bring one other person to this event? Or one other person on this lunch. And that's actually how I'll find a lot of guests for the podcast or expand my network in general.
Right.
So yeah, I'm meeting a guy Thursday that runs a big software company.
Because you knew someone and said, hey, let's go to lunch, and I want you to bring someone else.
Yeah, and so you have to make the ask easier. So, and I can talk about the podcast, I think this is just more relevant for some of the audience. Yeah. Is that if I'm going to a city like San Francisco or I'm going to New York, I don't say, can you bring one friend? Because that's actually a big ask. And it's hard for me to actually figure out who to bring.
Okay.
Like it's like the question, what should I have for dinner? I'm like, I don't know, there's so many options. But if I should say, should I have Mexican or Japanese?
Easier.
You're like Mexican, obviously.
Always Mexican.
Yeah.
Tacos.
I do love
Had tacos for breakfast and for dinner last night.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had sushi last night. But I had a breakfast.
We're going to count, by the way, we're going to do a counter of all the high fives in this video.
We should have a count of them.
Yeah.
But I said, hey, who's one friend that runs a software company that's successful?
Okay.
And it makes it much easier. He's like, oh, this guy Ravi from Heap Analytics, and so he's the one who's coming to lunch now on Thursday. So that was it. For the podcast thing, I think you have to understand, and you're really good at this, is like, what I do, and I'm really bad about it, is I always want to take. And you know, everyone's like, oh, give, and then you can ask. I'm like, no, I just want to take everything. And we want it to be fast. We want it to be shortcuts. I want 15 seconds, like, to be rich. Yeah. I want 15 seconds to everyone respond to my emails. And for podcast guests, I have to keep working backwards, like, what is in it for them?
Okay.
I call it whiffed, but like in general, it's like, what are they getting out of it?
Yeah, whiffed.
And how do I help them get that? And then subsequently, I'll get what I want.
So this is two really important things that we just learned. So first is that the more specific the ask, the better. Remember, you want to make it easy for them to help you.
Yes.
Right? So like, I'll get people who will be like, Vanessa, like, I love your business. Can I help?
Oh, the worst.
It's actually the worst.
Yeah.
It's so nice, but actually it's really hard for me to take them up on that help because I have no idea what it is. So the more specific you can be, do you know someone who runs a successful software company? That's a very specific ask. And then second is that whiffed, what's in it for them, right? How can you figure out, okay, I haven't asked for them, but how can I make it in their best interest?
Yeah, I did an interesting thing with my podcast recently where I want to get on other shows.
Okay.
And so I've been emailing people for the past 2 months and saying, hey, I really want to be on your show. There's actually two experiences to this, but one was like, I want to be on your show. Can I be on it? I'll really help you, blah, blah. And really what I'm saying is like, just can you promote me? That's really, and then people aren't dumb. They're like, no, I know you're just trying to get on my show. And so one night it was 1 a.m. and I just tried to, I don't know if I told you this story. I just tried a 180. I deleted all my template. I was like, fuck this template. I just said, hey, I like your show.
Yeah.
I was going to email you to be on it and be all like bullshit about it.
Yeah.
But I'm not. What's your most recent favorite episode? I'm just going to promote it to my audience. You don't have to do anything. No strings attached.
Okay.
And then people just started sending me their shows, and I would just promote it. I wouldn't actually ask for things. And then people were like, actually, no, do you want to come on the show? And I was like, I'm not opposed to it. But it was interesting. But I think what I really have taken away from that experience is that I just said, fuck it. I'm just going to give. I'm not going to even ask for anything. Yeah. And then it started coming back.
Also, there's something really special about that is you didn't just say, hey, I'll promote your show for you. You said, what are your favorite episodes?
Yeah.
I will promote them for you. Now, if you're a creator, and I think you know this, like we work so hard on our output. And so I have favorite articles that I feel like, why did that not get as much play?
Totally.
And so I bet you in a way, you were also answering a problem they had, which is like, why is this show not getting as much as it should? It was so good.
Possibly, yeah.
And so I think that you were actually giving them a gift by tapping into something it was like a creative baby. Like all of our things are little babies.
Well, I think I want to definitely tell 2 other stories, but one thing I said recent favorite because what I did notice is when I was saying favorite, they're like, well, now I have to think. But recent just means like, oh, what's something recently that's quicker for me to actually make a decision on?
So that one word made it easier for them to help you.
Way easier.
One word, yeah.
They were coming to me. So one other thing there's 2 other experiences that happened recently related to this that I thought were really helpful for me was with YouTube. I really wanted to get on other people's shows as well. I was like, oh, if I can get on their channels, it'll help me. And then Brandon and I actually, as an experiment, we just did a 180. So we took other people's shows like yours, like Nick Bear, like Charisma on Command, Simple Pickup, and we're like, we're just going to promote you guys. No ask. We don't have to promote it. You don't have to do anything. And subsequently now when those shows get, like, people watch yours, they're like, oh, what's the behind the scenes of Vanessa Van Science People? And we're, like, only just promoting you.
Interesting.
And so there's definitely something there where the more that I've just been practicing and just giving out to other people, more comes back. Here's the last one with that was kind of wild. One of our competitors asked for a referral to a video help. And I'm like, they sent me the email like, hey, no, who does your videos? I really want help with it. And I was like, fuck you, deleted. I don't know if you can have the F word on your show. And I was like, guess what? Deleted. And no, true story. And then I go home at night. It's about 1 a.m. I guess everything happens for me at 1 a.m.
Yeah, that's your magic hour.
I know something.
Magic hour.
Which, whenever you're in the zone, go for it.
Exactly. Know your rhythms.
Yeah. If you're in the zone, just go for it. Don't stop. You know, when you know those moments you reflect, you're like, oh, I deleted that email, or I was mean to that person. And you know that you didn't do the right thing.
Yeah.
You know it. We all know
feel it. Yeah.
And I'm sure there's science behind it, and that will be one of your follow-up episodes. And I knew that wasn't the right thing. And I said, all right, I undeleted the email. I said, here's the person that it was Tim Schmoyer. I said, this is the guy that's helped me with it. Here's his email address. Here's the best way to get him to respond. And he'll be able to help you out. And I was like, all right, I felt good. I did the right thing.
Yeah.
And then this is the way the world works to some extent. The next day, they're like, actually, we're going to promote you to all of our audience, and you should come do this stuff with us. And I was like, this karma shit is cool.
Right. Karma is real. Also, I think that people can tell the difference in your tone and your word usage with your intent. So if you had written back kind of like angrily in that moment when you actually wanted to delete it, I bet you that would have come across differently in your email. But instead, you waited and you thought, you know what? That wasn't the right thing. I'm going to be a good person. I'm going to write a good email, and that actually came through. And I think people can feel that good feeling right behind like our intent. It comes out in body language, voice tone, and word choice. So I bet you people could feel that good karma.
That's good.
So thank you so much for sharing all these amazing tips. These are just a couple quick ones. You must go listen to Noah Kagan Presents. You must go watch their YouTube channel, and if you have a website, you should also check out AppSumo or Sumo.
.com. Thank you.
Oh yes. Wait, one more. We got the count up.